computer. Oh my gosh, January 11th, 1/11/22. Oh my gosh, this month is, I say oh my gosh a lot. This month is going very fast. It is almost mid-month. January is going to be over in 2 weeks, and we will already be well into the new year. And Bob informed me the other day that spring is like 70 days away, less than.
Yay!
So something
Yay!
to look forward to. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Pink Huddle. Susan has asked me to do my due diligence and to say a prayer tonight, and I'm glad to do that. So if you guys will just bow, reach out across the miles. Lord, so much for bringing us all together, for our friendships, our support, our love for one another and our business, and the fact that we are just sisters, and that we love to join together to lift each other up and to lift others up, and that Mary Kay created a business that gives us that. I want to say a special little prayer for my puppy dog tonight. Thelma is in the pet hospital. I know she's going to be just fine. The doctor's just keeping her overnight to observe her, but this is the first night she's been away from home for 18 months. And I know God's got her in his hands, his healing hands, and that she's going to come home and be ready for a dietary change. So thank you, God, for watching over her, for watching over all of our friends and families, for bringing us together tonight. Open our hearts, our minds, and let us hear something or share something that we need. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. Okay, well, welcome everybody. We're just thrilled to see you tonight. We've got a really special video that we're going to share with you. Okay, let's let Nora in. And once Nora's in, I want to give some special recognition to Nora, because she is number 35 in the Diamond Go Give Court of Sales. Congratulations, Nora. We're cheering for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, number 35. I mean, like, already. It's January.
I know.
You'll be the queen by June.
I know.
I think it's time for you to be the queen. Don't you think?
You know, it's funny because that was one of the things I got out of this weekend was that
Ignite.
Yeah, from Ignite. That was like, you know what? Court of Sales is not my goal. It can't be my goal anymore. I need to up my game. So
I love that, Nora.
top 10, here we go.
Good for you. Good.
Even you are surprised at how far you are already at this point in the year, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Number 35. Well,
and what do you think is different this year, Nora, than last year or the year before?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm just doing what I always do. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I've done different other than, well, no, I've tracked the last few years too. So I can't say it's because I'm tracking.
Just working in business, and your business has grown. That's the thing. Yeah. Your business has just grown because you steady Eddie, and you do what you do, and you track, and you watch numbers, and you could probably teach this class tonight.
Oh, most definitely.
But no, it's funny. I just feel so blessed this year, honestly, because there'll be weeks where I'm like, oh, I got to get new faces. I've just seen, it's just reorders. And all of a sudden somebody will reach out online and I got an order and it's a new customer. It's not even just a one-shot deal. They turn into a friend and now they're a solid, steady customer. So they're coming to me, which is a wonderful thing.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
you deserve it. So deserving.
You do.
Well, she's our queen this week again with our weekly accomplishment sheet. So congratulations, Nora. Almost a $600 week.
Almost.
So that's awesome.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
I want to shout out to Denise, not only for turning in your weekly accomplishment sheet again this week. Yay, raw. I haven't been able to post that, but congratulations for that. But Denise is stepping out of her comfort zone in a big way, and she's doing online Facebook Live videos with clients. And she just did her first one this past Sunday. It was 30 minutes. It was fun. And so again, it's not what you do. It's just that you do, that you do something, whatever you're drawn to, that you're communicating, that you're reaching out to people. So congratulations, Denise, on that. I think that's a great thing. And you will be a blessing to many, I'm sure, just putting your beautiful face out there.
Good for you.
Who else
Good
has
for
something
you.
to crow about, something exciting going on in your business that you would like to share? Or even a prayer request? Anybody? Betty.
Betty. You just muted yourself, Betty. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you
I
go.
like to ask prayer for myself and for my husband. We both have COVID, but his is even worse than mine.
So you do now have it, Betty? I know you said that Doug had it. So daggone it, that was something he didn't have to share with you.
I know it. We've been trying to stay away from each other, but I guess you can't do
You're
it.
irresistible.
Right.
You're definitely lifting prayers, and I feel this more and more through this thing. We're all going to have it at some point. If you haven't had it yet, you will have it. How many people have had it? Who's on here? Susan has, I have, Denise has, Betty has, Tanya has. So again, the majority of us on here, and just take care of yourself now and during, and you'll be fine for the most part. I mean, again, it's a scary thing when we hear about it or have it, but and everybody's got a different. I know Doug's really struggling. I know you said that last week, Betty, that he's really had a hard time with it. And I'm just praying that he gets through that and that you get to the other side and you guys will rejoice that you made it to the end and be another part of the COVID family. Lord. Anyway, so yes, prayers for Betty and Doug. Anybody else? Something to share, something to pray about?
My mom called me today and she is 82 and she has COVID. And she has had COVID. She's been vaccinated. She's been boosted. And now she has it again. So she said, she goes, honestly, I just feel like I have a bad cold. But keep Joanne Keel in your prayers because she's
for sure.
So thank you.
Craziness. Well, you guys, we thought tonight there would be one of the great topics of all time, one that we can always revisit over and over again. And it's got the word time in it. It's about time management. And, I want to share something, Susan, if you don't mind, real quick. I was kind of looking up some of my past classes on time management from either career conferences or something that I've taught. I keep everything. I don't know if you've got a notes section in your phone. I know if you've got an iPhone, you do, but if you don't, I'm sure Android phones have them as well. I keep every kind of notes in there, notes for meetings, notes when, so that you can pull those things up. So one of the things that I read when I was just saying, what have I taught before? What are some profound things about time management? And when we get done, we've got a video that we're going to show you, but when we get done with that, I do want to have a little closing thing, but from Stephen Covey, which I think is he's got so much to say on really figuring out what's important and what's not important and what's urgent and what's not urgent, because we most of the time have that really, really messed up in our lives, and most people do. But I read this and I just loved this. So and I know we've all been there. If you've been discouraged or frustrated with your business at any time, and you will, it is a cycle and you'll go through it, and you'll go through it faster and faster sometimes because there's a lesson or something that you need to learn. But typically, here are the reasons that if you are or have experienced discouragement or frustration, you don't have a vision, a goal, or a plan. So, you got to have something that you're stretching for. And you've got to have something that drives you past the hurdles, because each hurdle is going to be there to help you get stronger. When sometimes when you're frustrated, you're focusing on result instead of effort. And that's exactly what Nora just said. She just keeps focusing on the effort. The results come. The results that you are seeing today are based on the work that you did 90 days ago. And I'm going to say that again. The results that you're seeing today are based on the work you did 90 or 90 plus days ago. So what you're doing right now, you may not see some of the fruits of your labor, but you will see it in 90 days and it will make a difference. Another reason that you might be discouraged or frustrating is you're not working the numbers, that you're not working consistently, that you don't have a system, you're not planning, you're not tracking, and you don't have a system for time management. That maybe you're not plugged into training, and you guys, thank you for the most of you who are on here are consistent every Tuesday night, and that shows me a lot. It shows me that you're part of something, you're part of us, that we do this together, and that you're part of a team, and that you want more, or that you want the accountability for yourself. So pat yourself on the back for being here. But people who aren't, maybe not plugging into your director. I mean, you guys, I think all of you are pretty good. If you need us, that's what we're here for. We're a phone call away, and you don't have to go through 12 different people and 12 different channels to finally get the right person to talk to. It's one phone call. So call Susan or I when you need help, when you need support, when you have a question, when you need encouragement. Inactivity breeds negativity. Comparing ourselves to others. You got to run your own race. You may be listening to the wrong people. Remember, only take advice from people who you would trade places with. And no is not rejection, it's redirection. It's to tell you to do something differently. So those are just some things, and that just kind of came up in a time management, but it was just a kind of a business management class. So I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let Susan, you might bring it up, or do you have it ready to bring up? Show us the.
I have it ready to bring up.
Okay.
We have a little video to share with you today. It's from a TED Talk. It's how to gain control of your free time. And so hopefully you guys let me know or tell me in the chat if you can't hear it. Do y'all see it right now?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get started on it. It's just an 11-minute video. So here we go.
When people find out I write about time management, they assume two things. One is that I'm always on time, and I'm not. I have 4 small children, and I would like to blame them for my occasional tardiness, but sometimes it's just not their fault. I was once late to my own speech on time management. We all had to just take a moment together and savor that irony. The second thing they assume is that I have lots of tips and tricks for saving bits of time here and there. And sometimes I'll hear from magazines that are doing a story along these lines, generally on how to help their readers find an extra hour in the day. And the idea is that we'll shave bits of time off everyday activities, add it up, and we'll have time for the good stuff. And I question the entire premise of this piece, but I'm always interested in hearing what they've come up with before they call me. So some of my favorites: doing errands in a way where you only have to make right-hand turns, being extremely judicious in microwave usage. So it says 3 to 3.5 minutes on the package. We are totally getting in on the bottom side of that. And my personal favorite, which makes sense on some level, is to DVR your favorite shows so you can fast forward through the commercials. And that way you save about 8 minutes every half hour. So in the course of 2 hours of watching TV, you find 32 minutes to exercise, which is true. You know another way to find 32 minutes to exercise? Don't watch 2 hours of TV a day, right? Anyway, the idea is we'll save bits of time here and there, add it up, we will finally get to everything we want to do. But after studying how successful people spend their time and looking at their schedules hour by hour, I think this idea has it completely backward. We don't build the lives we want by saving time. We build the lives we want, and then time saves itself. Here's what I mean. I recently did a time diary project looking at 1,001 days in the lives of extremely busy women. They had demanding jobs, sometimes their own businesses, kids to care for, maybe parents to care for, community commitments, busy, busy people. I had them keep track of their time for a week so I could add up how much they worked and slept. And I interviewed them about their strategies for my book. One of the women whose time log I studied, she goes out for a Wednesday night for something. She comes home to find that her water heater has broken, and there is now water all over her basement. If you've ever had anything like this happen to you, you know it is a hugely damaging, frightening, sopping mess. So she's dealing with the immediate aftermath that night. Next day, she's got plumbers coming in. Day after that, professional cleaning crew dealing with the ruined carpet. All this is being recorded on her time log, winds up taking 7 hours of her week. 7 hours. That's like finding an extra hour in the day. But I'm sure if you had asked her at the start of the week, could you find 7 hours to train for triathlon? Could you find 7 hours to mentor 7 worthy people? I'm sure she would have said what most of us would have said, which is no. Can't you see how busy I am? Yet when she had to find 7 hours because there is water all over her basement, she found 7 hours. And what this shows us is that time is highly elastic. We cannot make more time, but time will stretch to accommodate what we choose to put into it. And so the key to time management is treating our priorities as the equivalent of that broken water heater. And to get at this, I like to use some language from one of the busiest people I ever interviewed. By busy, I mean she was running a small business with 12 people on the payroll. She had 6 children in her spare time. I was getting in touch with her to set up an interview on how she had it all, that phrase. I remember it was a Thursday morning and she was not available to speak with me, of course, right? But the reason she was unavailable to speak with me is that she was out for a hike because it was a beautiful spring morning and she wanted to go for a hike. So of course, this makes me even more intrigued. And when I finally do catch up with her, she explains it like this. She says, listen, Laura, everything I do, every minute I spend is my choice. And rather than say, I don't have time to do X, Y, or Z, she'd say, I don't do X, Y, or Z because it's not a priority. I don't have time often means it's not a priority. If you think about it, that's really more accurate language. I mean, I could tell you I don't have time to dust my blinds, but that's not true. If you offered to pay me $100,000 to go dust my blinds, I would get to it pretty quickly. Since that is not going to happen, I can acknowledge this is not a matter of lacking time. It's that I don't want to do it. Using this language reminds us that time is a choice. And granted, there may be horrible consequences for making different choices. I will give you that. But we are smart people. And certainly over the long run, we have the power to fill our lives with the things that deserve to be there. So how do we do that? How do we treat our priorities as the equivalent of that broken water heater? Well, first we need to figure out what they are. And I want to give you 2 strategies for thinking about this. The first, on the professional side, I'm sure many people coming up to the end of the year are giving or getting annual performance reviews. You look back over your successes over the year, your opportunities for growth. And this serves its purpose, but I find it's more effective to do this looking forward. So I want you to pretend it's the end of next year. You're giving yourself a performance review, and it has been an absolutely amazing year for you professionally. What 3 to 5 things did you do that made it so amazing? So you can write next year's performance review now. And you can do this for your personal life too. I'm sure many of you, like me, come December, get cards that contain these folded up sheets of colored paper, on which is written what is known as the family holiday letter. Bit of a wretched genre of literature, really, going on about how amazing everyone in the household is, or even more scintillating, how busy everyone in the household is. But these letters serve a purpose, which is that they tell your friends and family what you did in your personal life that mattered to you over the course of the year. So this year's kind of done, but I want you to pretend it's the end of next year. And it has been an absolutely amazing year for you and the people you care about. What 3 to 5 things did you do that made it so amazing? So you can write next year's family holiday letter now. Don't send it. Please don't send it, but you can write it. And now between the performance review and the family holiday letter, we have a list of 6 to 10 goals we can work on in the next year. And now we need to break these down into doable steps. So maybe you want to write a family history. Well, first you can read some other family histories, get a sense for the style. And then maybe think about the questions you want to ask your relatives, set up appointments to interview them. Or maybe you want to run a 5K. So you need to find a race and sign up and figure out a training plan and dig those shoes out of the back of the closet. And then, this is key. We treat our priorities as the equivalent of that broken water heater by putting them into our schedules first. And we do this by thinking through our weeks before we are in them. I find a really good time to do this is Friday afternoons. Friday afternoon is what an economist might call a low opportunity cost time. Most of us are not sitting there on Friday afternoon saying, I am excited to make progress toward my personal and professional priorities right now. But we are willing to think about what those should be. So take a little bit of time Friday afternoon, make yourself a 3-category priority list: career, relationships, self. Making a 3-category list reminds us that there should be something in all 3 categories. Career, we think about; relationships, self, not so much. But anyway, just a short list, 2 to 3 items in each. Then look out over the whole of the next week and see where you can plan them in. Where you plan them in is up to you. And I know this is going to be more complicated for some people than others. I mean, some people's lives are just harder than others. It is not going to be easy to find time to take that poetry class if you are caring for multiple children on your own. I get that. And I don't want to minimize anyone's struggle. But I do think that the numbers I am about to tell you are empowering. There are 168 hours in a week. 24 times 7 is 168 hours. That is a lot of time. If you are working a full-time job, so 40 hours a week, sleeping 8 hours a night, so 56 hours a week, that leaves 72 hours for other things. That is a lot of time. You say you're working 50 hours a week, maybe a main job and a side hustle. Well, that leaves 62 hours for other things. You say you're working 60 hours. Well, that leaves 52 hours for other things. You say you're working more than 60 hours. Well, are you sure? There was once a study comparing people's estimated work weeks with time diaries, found that people claiming 75+ hour work weeks were off by about 25 hours. You can guess in which direction, right? Anyway, in 168 hours a week, I think we can find time for what matters to you. If you want to spend more time with your kids, you want to study more for a test you're taking, you want to exercise for 3 hours and volunteer for 2, you can. And that's even if you're working way more than full-time hours. So we have plenty of time, which is great, because guess what? We don't even need that much time to do amazing things. But when most of us have bits of time, what do? Pull out the phone, right? Start deleting emails, or otherwise we're puttering around the house or watching TV. But small moments can have great power. You can use your bits of time for bits of joy. Maybe it's choosing to read something wonderful on the bus on the way to work. I know when I had a job that required 2 bus rides and a subway ride every morning, I used to go to the library on weekends to get stuff to read. Made the whole experience almost enjoyable. Breaks at work can be used for meditating or praying. If family dinner is out because of your crazy work schedule, maybe family breakfast could be a good substitute. It's about looking at the whole of one's time and seeing where the good stuff can go. I truly believe this. There is time. Even if we are busy, we have time for what matters. And when we focus on what matters, we can build the lives we want in the time we've got. Thank you.
Wow, that was really good. Let me make sure okay, hold on. Oh, let me cut that off. Okay, now where am I?
Lovely music. Well, while you're figuring that out, I'll throw
Thank you.
I'll throw my 2 cents worth into this. One of my favorite books, and Lord knows, and Mary Kay, thankfully, I think school's never out for the pro, and we are constantly learning in this business. It's one of the things that I am so grateful for. And learning early on about time management, especially working a full-time job and having kids at home and all the things that we have all been through, every phase in our life of lots of things going on. Stephen Covey, Dr. Stephen Covey, and you know him from 7 Habits of Highly Successful People or whatever, but he's also wrote a book called First Things First. And it is really the most profound book. And it's pretty much what she just said. It's just, you've got to figure out what's first in your life, what's important, who's important, why are they important, why is it important, instead of we have a tendency to get all hung up on urgent things that are emails and texts and this and that have nothing to do with really what's important. We just think they're important. And so if you get a chance to grab that, download it, put it on your iPad or Kindle, or listen to it as an audiobook, it will make a difference. It really makes you think. He talks about putting things in 4 quadrants and what's urgent, what's not urgent, what's important, and what's not important. And you just find that you spend way too much time in the urgent and important, not important, instead of what's important and not necessarily urgent. You have to make, she just said this, you have to make time for those things. You have to carve out that time first and then plug in the rest of your life. So just a big shout out to Stephen Covey and First Things First, if you want a great book, or just look up some quotes or a synopsis. Good info there.
I took a few notes on here. Time will stretch to accommodate what we choose to put in it. And that is true. I mean, Mary Kay has often said that. We have our, let's see how to put it. We have fill our lives, we fill our lives with the things that deserve to be there. That performance review and the family letter, like, what do you want it to say in December that you accomplished? That might be kind of a backwards way to set your goals for the year. Put your priorities into your schedule first. You know, remember that story about, well, wasn't there a director, Teresa, that at career conference, she showed the story, but she had this big bowl and she put the rocks in, all these rocks, and they said, how much more can you put in there? Like, oh, nothing is full. And then she put in pebbles, and how much more? Oh, nothing else. And then she put in sand, and then how much could go in there? She put in water. And so the point was to put in the rocks first. And
Right.
the things that are most important in your life go into your schedule first.
Right. Filter everything around it.
So I just love this TED Talk. And she said, your small moments can have great power, which really spoke to me, because sometimes through the day, you're like, oh my gosh, what have I accomplished today? What can I make happen today? But there might be 5 minutes here, a little moment there where you can grab it, make a call, reach out to somebody that has been on your heart. And she said, look at the whole time and see where the good stuff can go. So I just really like this. You know, we talk about time management, and you really can't manage time. Time marches on with or without you. And sometimes I stop and I think, well, when I do finally have some free time, how am I spending that? Am I scrolling? Oh, one more TikTok, one more thing. And it's such a waste on that type of thing. But what could I do with that few minutes that would take me further in my business or further toward my goal? So it's just something to think about tonight, as we're still relatively young in this new 2022 year, and what your goals are and what can you do in those little snippets of time. Because really, it's, what do they say? What's the term? I just totally lost my train of thought. It's something about what we do in the little moments is what makes the big moments, or what is it, Teresa? Help me on that. What do they say?
No idea.
I know. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just
That's okay.
blanking on it.
That's all right. Here's my quote for tonight, and it just is. You've got the plan. You've got to take time to make time, and the best way to predict your future is to create it. create the life that you want. Pam Shaw talks about that all the time, that you are in charge of that and you can stop and create that. So are you living your best life? And what does that look like to you? And make your mind move towards that, because, you know, people are watching. You're making an impact, either good or bad, you're making an impact. So, you know, what do you want from this year, for this next 6 months? What do you want in your business? Do you have a burning desire? Do you have something that you're stretching for? And if not, and you need help with that, you know, don't just take a day by day and try to cram everything in. For what? What's the point? So you guys, we're going to make 2022 a really special year. I think we've gone through a couple of years of learning a lot of lessons, and I think it's time to kind of dig our heels in, realize what we've learned, and what kind of change we really can make in this world. Be the change that you want in the world.
I thought of what I was trying to say.
Good.
The secret to our success lies in our daily routine.
Yep.
Right. That's it. So you're right. Create the life that you want. Decide now what you want to be in your holiday letter or your performance review at the end of the year, and kind of work backwards from that to set your goals for the new year. I know you can do it.
Thanks for being with
Sisters
us,
in
you guys
yeah,
tonight. Betty,
absolutely.
feel better. Okay. Feeling
Gosh,
better.
yeah.
You know, and love you guys. Let's make 2022 really, really special. All right.
Okay. Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.